Namaste everyone, I'm Ashit Desai and I welcome you all to this episode of Khelvishwa, a world of sports. It's brought to you by the Swami Vivekanand Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India, Durban, South Africa. It is my privilege to be a programs director for this 8th episode of this amazing show. And today we're joined by Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogiji. He's the director of the Sri Swami Vivekanand Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban, South Africa. We also have with us Mr. Spiwe Mkhunu, who's a member of the Sri Swami Vivekanand Cultural Center, and our sports enthusiast, Mr. Khayelihle Nkabinde, and not to forget our sports personality of the day, Mr. Minenhle Mgenge. And in today's program, we have Mr. Khayelihle Nkabinde, who's the sports enthusiast, who's going to be having this conversation with our sporting personality. And he's going to be talking to this exceptional sporting personality, Mr. Minenhle. And he is a hockey coach at the Durban University of Technology. So he started playing this game in the year 2017. He also qualified to play the under 20 in district male netball in the year 2017, which is Salga Games, which takes place in the KwaZulu-Natal province in South Africa. He has also qualified as a provincial player in the Mgungundlovu district and currently playing in the KZN Super Leagues for the Cheetahs Netball Club. I'm very excited to listen to this dynamic sporting personality, and I hand over the formalities to Mr. Khayelihle.
Good day to everyone. Good day to our interviewee, Mr. Praise Mgenge. Praise, it's a huge honor to be interviewing you. I'm also a huge sports fan, especially hockey. I also do play hockey myself. And welcome, Mr. Praise. Welcome, Mr. Praise Mgenge. Before we get started, Mr. Praise Mgenge, my first question is just this: and how long have you been involved with the sports of hockey?
For me, basically, I grew up in a very sporting family. So my father played amateur football, and then my brother played all the sports. So growing up for me, our time spent on downtime was basically playing around at home, outside in the grass, either playing soccer, playing cricket. So I started at the age of 6, basically forced by my brother to practice with him after school when he'd come back from primary school. And then I guess I fell in love with it from there because it kept me disciplined from that young age, and then I just carried on with the passion I have for the sport.
And growing up, do you face any challenges with playing hockey? Because I know like hockey wasn't very good a sport for everyone and from a young age. What challenge did you face as growing up until now with the sports of hockey?
I come from a small town in the northern part of KZN. So firstly, it's that integration of having to find a primary school that has the facilities where you can actually practice properly on grass. Because I remember the first time I actually stepped onto an AstroTurf, it was at a junior IPT, like an interprovincial tournament. And it was the first time, and it was shocking for me to see other kids who had been practicing for such a long time on AstroTurf and see the difference to them on the field. Like, it just makes 2 yards easier for them to get a touch onto the ball. So those were some of the challenges. And obviously, being a person of color, our fields and facilities aren't around in the places that we live. So it's that traveling from home, having to leave at 6 o'clock in the morning, taking a bus or taking a taxi to a game or a tournament that's 3 hours away. Spending time away from family as a young kid, going on tours is also pretty harsh. But at the same time, I think my parents are supportive, or are still supportive of the fact that with sports, there's lots of things you can gain with sports. So I think those are the challenges that I basically face as a kid growing up playing hockey.
Yeah, and I've really experienced that because I've heard sports and hockey, there are a lot of tournaments that happen around, especially in KZN. With that being said, how did this shape you? Did it shape you internally or externally? With that being said, internally, did it make you a stronger person, or were there some weaknesses that spotted out as you went through this phase of hockey?
I think that question has to be answered in 2 ways. It's internally and externally. Because as a hockey player, you're obviously going to face some challenges. you might not get picked for the team that you want to get picked in, and you have to face disappointment. So for me, it was internal struggles, adapting to playing in a team. Obviously, everyone has their own personalities and own egos and own drives. So it's coming to an understanding that there are 11 of us on the team, and we have to work together. And then with obviously disappointment, taking it on the chin, knowing that it's not the end of the world. You still have another tournament or another date to get selected. It's just about working harder. And obviously, externally, I'm not the biggest of people, but I think I've managed to get a bit more size. So it's feeling comfortable in your own body, working out, going to the gym, those type of things externally help happen for me in hockey.
No, thanks you for actually telling us about that a bit more. What are the benefits of playing hockey? What can you tell us some of the benefits of playing hockey, and what is the experience of just playing hockey as a sport?
For me, I think the benefits of playing hockey, it's one, you are more proactive, time management. You know that practice, for example, if practice is scheduled at 6 o'clock, you have to be there at 5:30, half an hour before. Practice starts at 6. If you're done with practice and you have to go study, you go study. It's about time management. And then comes to things where you feel like you grow as a person because of the sport. For me, I've taken my knowledge and I've started bringing back into the young people. And I think from a younger age, if people are more in tune into A sports, doesn't have to be hockey per se, but A sports, you're able to distance away yourself from the wrong things in society. Because obviously we live in a society where people use drugs, they use alcohol. As a sportsman, you hardly find time to be sitting down doing nothing, either on the sports field or at home studying. So I think those are basically the holistic benefits of playing hockey. And obviously the natural benefits of playing hockey. Obviously hockey is one of the sports that demands you use your whole body, from your feet to your legs to your arms, using most of your muscles in every movement. So you get your fitness going, you get natural strength. It's not about being the biggest hockey player per se, size-wise, but it's about natural strength, natural fitness. So it's about the holistic gains of hockey, keeping your body active, fresh, clean, because you have to exercise your mind and you have to exercise your body. And I think hockey uses both, because there's so many nitty-gritty things when it comes down to thinking about tactics, where you have to play your positioning. Even if a coach comes with a different tactic on a day, it's about changing that mentality of that, okay, we had formation A, now we're going to play formation B. So I think those are the benefits about hockey for me.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. And then my next question is going to be pretty nice, and I think it will make you think a lot about this question, because within your whole career of playing hockey and as a coach, what are the biggest experiences they can share with us as a coach and as a player as a whole?
The biggest experiences for me, obviously being a kid from South Africa, obviously you dream about firstly getting into an airplane. So that's one of my highlights, obviously. Under 18, we traveled from Durban to Cape Town in a plane, first time ever. Had an amazing tournament. So that was one of the highlights. And then obviously playing-wise, getting into the men's provincial team 2 years ago, that was one of my highlights, because I'd been away from the KZN scene for a while, just focusing on myself, playing hockey and then coaching. And then getting back into it just gave me that nod or the go-ahead that, yeah, I do deserve to be here, and I can, and I am holding my ground. And obviously, as a coach, I've been coaching the DUT men's team for 3 seasons now. It's the growth of the players. That's the best thing that I've experienced for me at the moment, the growth of the players. Seeing someone who wasn't really into playing hockey or that great at it at the moment, and then see him go step by step by step. We have some players in our team, obviously, who come from different backgrounds, different areas. Some people have never actually played a proper hockey match on AstroTurf in their whole life. But to see that person stop doubting themselves, get onto the field, going out, having fun, ending up becoming an instrumental player. Because I think in my 3 years coaching there, I've gotten 3 or 4 players that started off as, I would say, below average, but that shouldn't be a word, but as below average players. And now they are very integral members of the team. And then 2019, obviously, the highlight was going to the USA tournament and getting promoted. Being a young coach always gets people looking down on you, your tactics, that you know what he's doing. Are they really sure to give such a young person the type of opportunity? And then for me, it was just going there and the guys proving that, I do know what I'm doing. They also do know what they're doing as players. And it was just a good experience. The whole week, it was just fun. Played 5 games, only lost 1 game, and that was a very close game. So I enjoyed that a lot.
Thanks so much for sharing those experiences. And I know for sure, for you being part of the team, you are going to teach the players much more, and I'm sure you guys are going to come a bit better in the next seasons to come. The next question is going to be: what advice could you give someone who wants to take up sports, hockey as a sport? Could be someone who hasn't played hockey, as you said. What advice would you give them if they want to take up hockey as a sport?
I think the easiest advice I'd give, first I'd like to give advice to some parents. For parents, I'd say any sports in general, it's good to start early. Not to put any pressure on your child, but give your child those options of dabbling in all the sports. Give them an option of playing cricket, soccer, hockey. Let them find their passion. And for a person who is older into his age and wants to start into the game of hockey, it's never too late, honestly speaking. It's about getting that fear across or over and just stepping onto the AstroTurf. There are so many teams that are willing and able to help players reach their potential. So you find a club where it's a social club, for instance, where people come out on a Sunday and it's a bunch of friends who are playing. Those are the types of clubs where you're able to go and learn and sponge off the more experienced players who have stopped playing seriously on a Sunday. You just want to go out and have a fun game with their mates. So it's about starting. Once you start, work hard. All the sportsmen around the world, doesn't matter any sport, it's about working hard, repetition. It might feel harsh on some days or bad on some days that you're out in the rain or in the heat, but those hard yards that you put on the field end up counting at the end of the day on the field. They do end up counting. And I've seen it personally for myself, that the moment you start working hard and you just put your head down and grind, things end up going into your favor.
Yeah. But I like what you just said. There's a part where you said the days when you actually feel like you're giving up, but when you carry on as a sportsman, because not every day is going to be a good day as a sportsman and as a coach. But what inspires you to just carry on playing the sport? And what inspires you to continue teaching more people the sports? What's the grind behind you? Say no, praise. Let's not give up. I like the sport. So what inspires you just to carry on playing hockey and to coach hockey?
I think my inspiration at the moment is giving back. I've come to the age when I'm playing in a team where I have older players, senior players that I look up to personally, and they have come into the team and they are giving back to the youngsters in our team. I think hockey, especially, is an opportunity for you not to just play hockey. You can play hockey and you can study. There's so many opportunities where you can take one apple and turn it into 2 apples, for example. You want to play hockey, but you can study also. So it's that giving back to the also to the varsity that I was at, because I studied at the DUT, and throughout my years there, we had a coach who was just like me, a person who had played at the team and decided that she just wants to give back and make sure that it's not a sport that only a select few are able to play. Because I think hockey is one of the sports where it demands a lot of money, a lot of time, but at the same time, if everyone is given that equal opportunity, there's so many diamonds in the rough just waiting to be plucked out that could make an impact on any country, on any provincial team. I just feel like my inspiration at the moment is basically just to give back. I've spent 20 years playing hockey. I've got so much knowledge from it. I've traveled the whole of SA playing hockey. So it's just for me now to give back my knowledge to the next generation, basically.
Wow. What a mouthful, what a mouthful. That's it for this interview, Mr. Praise. For my side, you're a very humble man, a very humble gent, and I'm sure we are going to continue following your footsteps as a hockey coach and as a hockey player. And for me, it's just an honor just to interview you and just take hockey as a sport. Once again, thank you so much for having. Thanks so much for having you here. Hopefully, we'll see you some other time.
Thank you very much, guys, for the opportunity. I am truly blessed to be among such minds. We do have a doctor in the room. Morning, doctor. Nice to meet you. I think this opportunity, it's blessed me in many ways, just to share my story and to get other people interested in a sport that might not seem as a niche sport for some cultures, especially African children. We grow up playing soccer, but knowing that there are more diverse or other sports we can dabble into, just a great opportunity. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Praise. Thanks, man.
Well, I certainly enjoyed that amazing conversation, and I'm sure all of you out there as well who are listening in must have had a great time. And it's time to say goodbye on this episode of Khelvishwa, the world of sport. Now it gives me great pleasure to call upon and welcome Mr. Siphiwe Mchunu, who's also one of the members of the Sri Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India, Durban, and he's going to be doing the vote of thanks. Namaste.
Thank you very much to Mr. Minenhle Mgenge, a hockey player coach, and Mr. Khayelihle Nkabinde, a sport enthusiast. So thank you very much to this young, wonderful people. You know, the story of Minenhle, the journey that he took towards this journey that he's doing now, it is very interesting. It's touching to hear a young man saying hard work pays, you know, because lots of young guys, they just want popcorn things. Without working hard, they want to achieve a lot. So the story of Minenhle is really, really interesting. It was very wonderful to hear these powerful words from this young man. So we have come to the end of our program, episode 8 of the program Khelvishwa World of Sport. On behalf of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban, it gives me a great pleasure today to deliver a vote of thanks on this wonderful 8th episode of the program Khelvishwa World of Sport. Allow me to thank our online guest, Mr. Minenhle Mgenge, a player and a coach of hockey, and also Mr. Khayelihle Nkabinde, a sport enthusiast. They gave us a very interesting interaction on the journey of hockey. Mr. Minenhle Mgenge, on behalf of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, I would like to say thank you. We wish you all the best and best of luck to you on the journey of hockey. To Director of the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi, Mr. Sashil Mena, thank you very much for taking part on today's program. To all our online participants who took part on today's program, we'd like to say thank you very much for taking part on today's program. You are kindly advised to visit ICCR in Durban Facebook page for all cultural updates for the cultural activities organized by Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center in Durban. Once again, Umnumzane Minenhle Mgenge, siyabonga kakhulu ndoda. Uqhubeke wenze okuhle njalo, siyabonga. Thank you very much. To Ubaba Khayelihle Nkabinde, Ndoda, as always, thank you very much. Siyabonga ngokwenzayo. So to both of them, I'd like to say thank you very much for taking part on today's program. To all of you, have a wonderful evening. Namaskar.